If you walk into a bakery, you smell the bread, you see the golden crust, and it looks perfect. Then you ask the baker, how do they do it? They won't tell you the ingredients. They'll tell you flour, water, yeast. That's only half the equation. The rest is basically temperature, and more importantly, time. If you bake it at 400 degrees for 20 minutes, you get a masterpiece. If you bake the same bread at 800 degrees for 10 minutes, you get a rock. The timeline of the heat changes the chemistry of the dough. In the world of physics, it's called the thermal history. You can look that up. It's a real thing. And it turns out that this exact same rule applies to the most destructive force on the planet Earth. When we think about a nuclear detonation, we focus on the flash, the shock wave, the absolute devastation. We think the story ends when the mushroom cloud rises. At least most people. But the explosion is not the end. It's actually the beginning. And in less than a millionth of a second, an immense burst of energy vaporizes everything nearby. The air, the dirt, the concrete casing of the weapon itself. It turns into a brilliant expanding cloud of gas and plasma, a nuclear fireball. Eventually that fireball has to cool down, and as it cools, those vaporized atoms find each other again. They condense and they form tiny solid particles. We call these a nuclear fallout. This is the radioactive ghost of the explosion. For decades, we relied on a standard mathematical model to predict how this fallout will behave. There are multiple models. We needed to know where the particles will go and how dangerous they would be to protect people after a disaster or a reactor meltdown. But recently, scientists at the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory realized something pretty terrifying. Our models are incomplete. We knew the ingredients of the fallout. We were ignoring the baker's secret. Remember the bread that I was talking about? You cannot just set off the nuclear weapon in the laboratory to test the theory. It's obvious. It tends to upset the neighbors. So the scientists had to get pretty creative. They built a machine called a plasma flow reactor. Imagine a long tube. Inside this tube, they recreate the exact chaotic environment of a nuclear fireball. They introduce specific elements like uranium, cesium, and a highly volatile element called, well, the cesium. Now, what they do is that they fit these materials with high temperature plasma. They vaporize them, then they send the hot vapor down the tube. So it just goes down the tube. But here's the genius part. They preferentially control how fast the tube cools down. They give the vapor different thermal histories. What they found completely appends how we understand the nuclear fallout. We used to think that fallout formation was just a matter of when things have condensed and cooled down, like water turning into ice when it hits the freezing temperature. But then the team has discovered that the cooling time dramatically alters the chemical reactions. When vaporized materials remain at high temperatures for slightly longer periods, volatile elements like cesium behave entirely differently. They interact with the other elements in unexpected ways as temperature drops. The revelation? Well, the timeline of the heat internally changes or completely changes the chemistry of the particle. These particles preserve a permanent microscopic record of how they have been formed. And it turns out our traditional safety models have been completely overlooking these complex chemical reactions. So now we're gathering all this data to understand how we can change the protocols. We're learning to read the microscopic records left behind the dust, because in the aftermath of the unthinkable, understanding a single microscopic particle of cesium could be the difference between tragedy and survival. We're still gathering the data. We don't know how this is going to turn things around and how things are going to change because of this, but hopefully it's going to give us a better understanding. If you watched this video thus far, say something nice or not so nice in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one.